Hi there, and welcome back to my channel, Stitches Past 5. My name is Vera, and on here I like to talk about anything that's going on in my knitting life. In these podcasts, I share all my projects that I have recently finished, what I'm currently working on, and what I'm planning to cast on in the future. I also kind of share about like the yarns I'm using, what I'm purchasing, my experiences with them, and yeah, I always love what everyone else is making as well. So go leave that in the comments down below what you're making while you're watching this podcast. I'm a knitter based out of Austria. We are in the Austrian Alps and we've gotten so much snow over the last few days that it's been really inspiring to be inside and knit. But I've actually been really busy just with, pre-Christmas things. I feel like November and December come around and everything and everyone just gets super busy, and there's so many things that need to be done and gatherings that happen and parties and outings and everything, which is really fun. But it also means that I've spent a little bit less time like knitting and just working on my projects, which is also okay. But there are still 2 finished objects that I want to share with you today, as well as some works in progress. But before we get started with those, I want to talk about what I'm wearing today. So this is the sweater from Kutovakika's first book. I think it's called Yuki's sweater, and this is not mine, this is my partner's, but I have enjoyed wearing it lately because it's pretty cold out, and this is probably one of the warmest sweaters that I've ever made. So this was a bottom-up color work sweater, and it was honestly a lot of fun to make. It was one of my first like colorwork sweaters. I had done colorwork before in smaller items, but this was kind of like my first big colorwork thing that I've made, and I think I made it like 2-3 years ago, something like that. So I made it in like, the pattern is for like it's written for men, so I made it as men's size medium, and the yarn I used was Drops Air, and it is just so warm, like it's almost too warm for him. He wears it as an outside sweater because he just runs really warm, so he'll wear like a vest over this in the wintertime, and that's more than enough for him. And yeah, I like wearing it inside because it keeps me nice and warm. You'll notice, if you know the pattern, that I made an adjustment. This is meant to be a skull here, like the little star, snowflake, and I tried to make snowflakes out of it. Now I will say they're not like the clearest snowflake, but I guess you kind of get the idea, and I don't think you would notice that it's something that I substituted in unless you know the pattern. I just wasn't, or we both weren't really the biggest fan of the skulls, so we substituted it with this cute little snowflake, and I think it really just like ties together the winter vibe of the sweater. Yeah, the Drops Air has worn relatively well, which I'm honestly a little bit surprised about because it is a blown yarn that just seems like it's a little bit more fragile. It definitely compresses over time, so like when you first knit it up, it'll be really floofy and like squishy, and now that he's had it for a number of years, it's definitely like it's lost its volume a little bit, but I think that's really okay. It definitely pills a little. I think I've shaved it once, but I'm really happy with like just how the color work has held up and everything, so better than expected. And because of the alpaca woolen blend and the blown yarn, it just like gives a lot of warmth, and yeah, it's just a really fun sweater, and I've also really started to enjoy wearing it when he's not wearing it. So that's what I'm wearing today, but let's get into my finished objects. Speaking of sweaters for my partner, I finally finished, or I shouldn't say finally because it didn't take me that long, but I did finish the King Salmon sweater by Caitlin Hunter. This is the final item, and this again is something that I'm really proud of and very happy with. A big colorwork yoke sweater. This one was knit top down, which is obviously like a little bit of a different experience. You start at the collar and then you kind of work each of the little fishies, or I shouldn't say little because they're not that small at all, but each of the fish, and then you finish the body and then you continue at the sleeves. And I know that this is meant to be a women's sweater, but he had, like my partner had asked for a sweater with fish in the yoke, and and I showed it to him, and he really liked it, so we figured we would just make it a little bit longer, so elongate the sleeves and elongate the body and have it be a men's sweater for him, and honestly it's worked out really well. The yarn I used for this was the Alpina Landhauwolle in color number 1, and I think the green is color 16 or 17, I'm not sure. And it is like and someone like explained this to me in my last podcast. I'm very thankful because I finally now understand like superwash, non-superwash. Basically superwash is like a 2-step process where like it's like a washing and a coating process, and I think this has been washed but not coated, which is why it's still like a relatively rustic yarn, but it is machine washable, like it won't felt in the washing machine. So yeah, it is relatively heavy. I think this sweater used over 500 grams of yarn, but because the Alpina Landhauwolle was not too expensive, I think I paid around €8 per 100 gram skein. This whole sweater actually came out at a price of around like 40 to 50 euros. So I think that's really fine for a pretty large like men's size like circular colorwork yoke sweater. Yeah, so it is this like washed or wash/washable woolen yarn, 80% wool, 20% polyacryl or polyester, and yeah, I think it really works for something like this in terms of the color work. Let me talk about the pattern real quick. So like I mentioned, it is meant to be a woman's pattern that features these like beautiful salmon fish that you knit top down. Because my yarn was a little bit thinner, I made size 5, but he actually measures as size 4, and that worked out totally fine. The thing with the color work is that every row obviously is different because of the fish motif. There isn't really any repetitions anywhere, so it's definitely something that you can memorize one thing, but then you need to memorize like a whole new thing for the next row. And literally every one of these fish is definitely different because I probably made some mistakes. Some of them I've noticed, some of them I've probably not noticed. The main mistake I made was I didn't close the fins at the bottom. And I literally only noticed way later. Like I noticed once I had finished the body, so I was like, nah, I'm just gonna duplicate stitch or honestly color it with a Sharpie. I've seen people do that, apparently works. But I asked him and he didn't really care. He thought it was pretty like normal looking. So we're just gonna leave it until it bothers me too much, and then I'll probably duplicate stitch on top of it. But until then, I think we're just gonna leave it because yeah, maybe it's also like, could be intentional, I don't know. Let me know down below what you would do. And then the next thing about the color work is that it is obviously very long. So keep in mind that my gauge is a little bit smaller. So my row gauge and my stitch gauge is a little bit smaller, and the pattern asks you to split for the sleeves after you finish the color work. And for this sweater, and me making this for my partner, this opening, like this splitting, came at the right spot. Like we wouldn't have wanted it any lower down. But of course, if you're a little bit smaller, or if maybe your like upper torso is a little bit shorter, that opening is gonna sit really far down. So I've seen people make adjustments in that they split for sleeves actually before they finish the color work, and I am toying with the idea of making one for myself because I do have the yarn for it. And if I do that, I would definitely need to do that for myself. But for this one, it wasn't an issue. We did try it on like as we went along and it worked out completely fine. But just something to keep in mind when you're making this sweater, that you might want to be splitting for the sleeves a little bit earlier than what the pattern calls for and what I did here. Yeah, and otherwise, honestly, it was a really fun project to make. If you want to see like my whole experience with it, I do have like a project vlog that I uploaded recently, so you can go check that out. But it's been really fun. He's loved wearing it as well. The yarn has worn really beautifully. He's worn it, I would say, maybe 5 to 10 times, and there's no pilling yet, so that's a good indication. The only thing is that he said that he might want the body to be a little bit longer. I didn't make it according to pattern. I made it longer already, but that might be something that I do in the near future, just lengthen it a little bit for him. So yeah, that is my first proper finished item, the King Salmon sweater by Caitlin Hunter. My next finished item is one that I kind of like self-drafted, designed myself, and it is this fluffy vest. Like, this is what it looks like. And I've just basically been wanting to make a bouclé like item for a long time, and I've also wanted to make a vest for a long time. And I mean, I've been talking about making vests for a really long time on here, and I've seen vests on Ravelry. I've seen vests with like a bouclé like texture on Ravelry, but it just really didn't match like what I wanted, and also the gauge I was gonna get with this yarn. So I figured that I wasn't even gonna buy any patterns. I was gonna challenge myself to make one myself, and this is the outcome of that. It has, essentially the way I worked it is I made like the front panels, and then I made the back panel, and then I joined like working flat once I was able to, after like the holds for the arms. And then, I don't know, I spent a really long time figuring out like what I wanted it to look like, because it just felt unfinished and I wasn't really sure. I tried like little bow ties, because I've seen like people with vests who have like little I-cord bow ties at the front, but I wasn't really feeling that. So then I decided to try out this I-cord along the edges, and I thought that was a really, really good thing that I did to it. I think now with this like I-cord border, the vest looks really, really nice. I'm actually gonna try it on real quick so you can like see. Also, if you're looking for like long sleeves to wear under your knits, I recently bought this Uniqlo Supima cotton, and it is butter. Like, it is so nice and soft to wear. And I also find that it doesn't catch the fibers too badly, because I wear a lot of like merino long sleeves, but they just catch onto the woolen fibers so much. So this has been really nice. So yeah, now you can probably visualize the vest a little bit better. It doesn't have any buttons, but I did want it to just be like a slip-on vest. And I also like really wanted to make sure that the armholes aren't too deep, not too tight. And honestly, I'm really happy with it. I think this is super cute. I might make it into a pattern, so I might be looking for pattern testers. So go follow me on my Instagram if you are looking, so go follow me on Instagram if you're interested in testing this vest. I do have like another vest that I am also making the pattern for at the moment. But I really love this. I think it's so cute. I mean, looking at myself like in the little viewfinder, I think it's a really, really cute piece, even like with a white top like this underneath. I should probably talk about the yarn I used and everything. I'm getting carried away. So the yarn I used for this is the Nera NORgard by Lana Grossa. It is a bouclé yarn, and I think the gauge I'm getting is 11 stitches or 12 stitches and 16 rows. I used 5mm needles for this because I did want it to be like opaque and not see-through. This yarn is a little bit on the pricey side in that 50 grams, which is 75 meters, did cost €9. And for me and for where I am, that is a little bit expensive, but I just really loved it. Oh, I need to wear this more often. So I used, I think, around 3 or 4 of these for this vest. I wrote it all down. I forgot a little bit now. And I just have been loving the bouclé. Like, I think this makes the most beautiful bouclé texture pattern. You'll never guess that it is knit. I will say knitting with bouclé is not my favorite thing in this world. I definitely felt like my fingers, like, it wasn't like flowing the way a woolen yarn would, but I mean, it literally has like loops like spun into it, so how is it meant to, right? I think it's easy to critique that, but it's just the nature of the yarn as well. And it really wasn't too bad. After a while you kind of got used to like how to deal with the yarn and knitting it. So yeah, go follow me on Instagram if you would like to be part of a test knit. I think I'm gonna put my test knitter call out on Instagram next. yeah, I think before I finalize the pattern though, I definitely do want to reknit it with a non-bouclé yarn and brush it out to kind of get like a similar effect, but like a little bit of a different effect, just to give it a little bit of an additional option, also for me to really make sure the pattern is okay before I give it out to testers and to make it like into something. So it might take a little while, but I'm not really sure what my own time plan is with that. So this is my second finished item. I might just keep wearing it because I really enjoy it. Yeah, the yarn also comes in a lot of different colors, but I kind of wanted something neutral for myself. Okay, the third finished item, I know I said two, but there's an additional finished item that is also a work in progress, are these. So I made the sailor slippers by Annie Sews, I guess, which is interesting because that makes me think she's like a sewing pattern designer, but I don't know. The pattern was lovely. I finished my sailor slippers. These are all over the internet right now. They're so fun. So I actually wasn't really gonna make them because I've made felted slippers before, and I just remember the pain of felting and just having to pull them, and the yarn being kind of annoying because you're knitting on such big needles, which is not really my favorite thing to do anyways. But my partner asked me to make him a pair. I don't think he even saw them online. He just really wanted to get a pair of slippers for the balcony for when he's like out there doing his woodwork. So I made these, and I'm not going to talk too much about them because there will be a video about them probably next week. I made them using the Drop Snow yarn, which is a felting yarn. This is color 97, and then I think the gray is color 46. And these are still wet because they only finished in the felting process, or in the washing machine, I should say this morning. And they turned out really well. Like, I'm really, really happy with them. They have like sizes, like sides kind of. So this is like left and this is right, and they're pretty hard, which is kind of fun because that means they're really sturdy and definitely don't look knitted. I mean, they look felted, which they are, but if you don't know that you can do this through knitting, I don't think a lot of people would know. But anyways, there will be a whole video on this and my process of it. The reason this is also a work in progress is because I'm making myself a pair as well, because I can't just let him have his. I need to be matching with him. So I'm making myself another pair in these colors. They're super cute. I love these colors so much. This is color number, what is this? 37 is this blue. And then the pink is color number 30. So there's like a baby blue and a baby pink, and then the same gray as the base. They're literally massive when you make them. They're so, so big, and they're also just like, they do not look like a slipper or resemble one whatsoever before you sew it together. And then once you sew it together, they just look like massive little clown shoes. So yeah, kind of a fun process because you go through like all the different stages. Yeah, I'm gonna try to finish the second one of these tonight, and then hopefully we will have matching slippers by next week, and then we will also have followed that trend. I think it's really lovely that they're kind of coming back. I made my first pair of felted slippers probably around like 4 or 5 years ago with my grandmother, and it's kind of fun. Like when I first saw them, I was like, really, like, are they really coming back? And yes, they are. And of course I had to make them because yeah, I think we'll actually be able to use them now because we do have a balcony where it's freezing cold out when you just stand on the tiles. I made mine exactly according to pattern, exactly the same needle size, exactly the same yarn, literally no modifications, and it's worked out for the men's version. I mean, there is no difference, it's just different shoe sizes. The green one I made is size 45, and I'm making size 41 for myself. And so far, so good. Another cast on that I've talked about wanting to make one of these for a long time, but I never actually cast it on. But I did finally now, just with some yarn that I had in stash, cast on for my Joseé hood, or Joseé hood. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that. And boy, did I underestimate not intensity, but just like the size of this project. So I'll put in a picture here, and then I'm going to show you mine. And for reference, I am hitting gauge with this yarn. It's just ridiculous. It is so big. Like, this is the hood. So it's definitely a lot larger than I anticipated, and it's definitely a lot more knitting than I anticipated. So I mean, it doesn't really look like a hood right now. Like, maybe from this angle you can tell I can't really take apart the scarf at the bottom right now because it's on circular needles. The yarn I'm using for this is the Upcycled Alpaca blend, which is a yarn by Joseé, which I've made a sweater in before, and I really love that yarn. I think it's a really nice alpaca blended yarn, and I love wearing the sweater. It is pilling a little bit because I did like an alpaca wool mix, but it's totally fine. And I did have like 3 skeins left from that sweater. I made the it was a sweater by Kutovakika with it, and I had some yarn left over that I didn't really know what to do with, but I did have like, I think it was like 300 grams. So I decided to make this hood with it, thinking, oh, I'll use like maybe 2 skeins, if even, because 200 grams is obviously like a lot of yarn for a hat, but this is definitely a lot more fabric than a hat. The way it's constructed is you cast on like at the front, and then you kind of do all that, then you pick up the stitches to continue along the side, and then it really gets a lot because then you like increase for the scarf that gets wrapped around. I was looking for a lot of I was looking at a lot of different hoods patterns because I really wanted to get one that includes that scarf to wrap around. I didn't want it to be 2 separate things that I was making, because a lot of hoods are just like the hood part without a scarf, I guess, or with like a very minor scarf, but I really wanted like the scarf to be able to have that warmth around me. I bike a lot in the winter. I bike to and from work, and I just think that with this, like, I would have that extra warmth. So that was important to me, and that's also why I chose this pattern. But like I said, I did not anticipate it to be like this much. I did hold it together with a white mohair from Drops. I think it's the Drops Kid Silk mohair that I also just had left over. So it looks like this. It's pretty moral, but then I ran out of the mohair, and I just figure like the hood part will be with mohair and the scarf part will be like without mohair. In all honesty, I'm making this more for function than for fashion because, yeah, like I said, I think I'll wear it a lot just going to and from work. And I also don't have that many hats that actually fit me right now. So this will hopefully, I'm really trusting the process here. I hope it's not gonna be really large. Like, this does not look something that's gonna fit on my head. Maybe I can try it on. Might regret that because I might drop some stitches, but I'm gonna try it. Because when I put it on, it's kind of like, yeah, I see it, but there's still obviously like a lot going on. I kind of see it like here. There will be an I-cord around the edge as well. I have kind of put this on hold now that I've started making the slippers, just because I've been knitting on this like the entire week, and it's all just garter stitch, which is okay, but it's just very monotone. The only thing you have to pay attention to is the increases, and I don't know, I just work stockinette faster than I work garter stitch. I think it's the way the stitches are like on the needles. So yeah, I'm sure I'll finish it soon because I think I'm pretty near being done. I just need to do like the last few increases and then the I-cord. But one row right now has over 300 stitches, so it is definitely like a little bit of a laborious process, this whole hood. And yeah, I'll finish it. Hopefully by the next podcast it'll be finished, and then hopefully it'll look more like a hood than it does right now. Okay, the next work in progress. If you are a more frequent viewer of my channel, you'll already have seen this, but I did make a little bit of progress on it, so I wanted to share that, and it is my Dagmar zipper sweater. I will say that this has been like one of my slowest projects that I've ever made, mainly because I'm not really working on it very monogamously. I mean, how do I show this here? It's like a paneled knit that you pick up the stitches for. So I picked up, like I finished the first front, like the left front I finished. So now I'm working on my right front, and it looks like I've just started like the actual front part here where the honeycomb is gonna start. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I do need to put more effort into making this because it literally just lies on our couch, and not much is happening. But I did do the front panels, and yeah, that's basically it. Looking at it, I'm kind of wondering, like, why don't I just finish it? Like, why don't I just work more on it? And I think the reason is because whenever I sit down, I can't really start this if I just have like half an hour or an hour, because I figured that it takes me a while to get back into it. And then it also like takes me a while to kind of like be comfortable with having the pattern memorized again. So it's definitely like a project that I only have been picking up when I do have like more time, which I just haven't really had lately, in all honesty. So I'm looking forward to kind of giving this a little bit more attention in the next few weeks, and I would love to have this done by Christmas, which is in 4 weeks time, because we are traveling for Christmas, and how cute would it be if I could wear this? So maybe I'll be able to finish it. I'm definitely not going to put any pressure on me because as we know, Christmas is really busy, and especially Advent here, I figure there'll be lots of other things to do, but if I do have the time, I would love to finish it, in all honesty. I should add, this is the Dagmar zipper sweater by PetiteKnit. I'm making it in a size small for myself. I haven't made any alterations to the pattern, and yes, I know that the back panels do not match up, but it's really fine. I'm not bothered by it. I don't have to look at it, it's fine, and if you're a non-knitter, people aren't gonna notice it. So unless I have a knitter who knows this pattern, who knows the back panels don't like here, like they don't line up, I don't know, I just wanted to keep knitting. I didn't want to do like all the conversion to make them match up. And I'm using the Bluefaced Leicester's Fleece by the West Yorkshire Spinning Company in this beautiful green color. I think it's color Forest. And then I'm holding it together with this Mohair, which is, what is this? Here. It is Knitting for Olive Mohair in the color Flaskegroen or Bottle Green. Yeah, and really happy with the yarn combination, in all honesty. I really just need to focus more effort and time into this, in all honesty, because I just don't, but it's okay. Okay, so those are the works in progress that I wanted to share today. My next 2 cast-ons, I actually have so many things that I like know I will cast on at some point, but I will spare you all of those right now because there is a really long list, because I'm also making a lot of my family and friends sweaters and so on and so forth. But the first thing I want to do is probably remake this vest in a different yarn, brush it out. Like I really have this vision where like the yarn gets brushed out and then it's super fluffy. That's like what I'm trying to achieve with it. And also to just like make sure the pattern is okay and like really finesse the pattern before I get it tested and like finally, hopefully, publish it. And then I have the same thing going on with another vest, the men's vest that I shared last podcast, because I also want to make that into a pattern. And then same thing, I just like want to remake it because it's actually been a while since I made that. And then also make that into a pattern. I'm being really inspired by like creating more of my own patterns and really thinking about that. I did do like a lot of pattern grading the other day, so that should be in place, but I just really want to make sure everything is gonna work out, because I'm definitely a little bit worried about like what if there is just like a size that doesn't work, or like something in the pattern where I've written it down too quickly and then it's incorrect or something like that. So therefore I want to make those 2 vests. They'll probably both be pretty quickly, especially this one because it's such a big gauge, and the other one is also, I think it's a 20 stitch gauge, but it's mostly in the round in stockinette, so I think that will also be quite quick. Then I will also hopefully be spending more time on the Numo pullover, which is a work in progress that I've had for a really long time. I think I cast it on in September. It is now almost December, and it's just an all over half fisherman's rib stitch sweater that I'm making for my partner. Not too much is happening, so I'm not really sharing frequent updates on it, but I do want to spend more time on that. We are traveling, and it is a nice project to take when you're traveling because I'm making it in Knitting for Olive yarn held single on 3mm needles, so it's just like a very compact sweater. So I'm gonna probably take that when we're traveling. And yeah, I think those will be like the 3 things I'm going to be focusing on in the upcoming weeks, as well as finishing my works in progress and mainly finishing my slippers. I think that will be my next finished item. But yeah, now I did do some yarn shopping, so I want to quickly share some acquisitions. Okay, so I have some boxes here, but I guess the first acquisition is the drop snow, because it was part of the same order, but I already talked about this. This is what I'm using to make my sailor slippers. It is the recommended yarn for those slippers. Yes, there is knots in it, but I really don't mind because it's just gonna get felted. It also doesn't knit up the most even, but again, I don't really mind. It's gonna get felted. You're not gonna see anything, literally. I'm even wondering, like, why am I even doing SSKs and like knit 2 togethers, because you can't see anything. Like, you can just do whatever you want to do in terms of the increases and decreases. But yeah, so I ordered these, and one skein was €1.55, so very affordable. I mean, it only has 50 meters and 50 grams, so yeah. But anyways, now basically all my orders are from drops. The next one I'm very excited about because it's a sweater that I've been wanting to make for a really, really long time, and it is the Dirty Caramel sweater by Kutovakika. It is in her first book, and it's just this gorgeous colorwork sweater, basically all over colorwork more or less. And it caught my eye the second I got that book and the second I flipped through it. But at the time I was just making other things. I made the sweater I was wearing at the beginning of this video. And yeah, now I finally think I have it in me to make that sweater, because obviously it's like a little bit of a bigger undertaking. So let me show you. I am gonna try to make it in the same colors as her. So I got the baby merino and drops, so everything is drops, so baby merino and the kid silk combinations. I mean, these aren't a great color match, but once I hold them together, I'm sure it'll be fine, of all of these colors. So it's drops baby merino and drops kid silk. So this is color 2 and color 56. Then I got, this is gonna be my base color for this sweater, 50, color 50 and 61. Then the pink, which is color 54, and the kid silk is color, what is this? Color 72. And then the dark blue, which is almost a black, but it is a dark blue. The merino is color 13, and the kid silk is color 65. So this is essentially an entire sweater in a box right here. I did get some more drops yarn, and my partner asked for a hat, so I got the drops baby merino again, and this is color 21. It is like, this one is black. He wanted a black hat. I think I'll make the Oslo hat by PetiteKnit out of this. And the last one I got was the drops merino extra fine, which is like a hint thicker than the drops baby merino. And this one I got a lot of. I got a sweater's quantity of this one. It is color 56, and it is also like this very, very dark blue, because I don't know, I figured I don't have much dark blue, so I kind of wanted to knit a little bit more in that. So yeah, those are all my acquisitions. I know it's kind of a lot, and I know I have a lot of yarn, so I think I will put another Hobby order in, because they're running a pretty big sale at the moment, and I really like their upcycled alpaca blend yarn, which is on sale again now, so I might buy a little bit more, and I do already have projects for those yarns. If you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of buying yarn without a project, so even for this drops one, like, I have a project in mind for it. I try to buy with intention, and obviously I knit a lot, so I think buying a lot of yarn is part of that. But I think come the new year, I'm definitely gonna try to focus on like reducing my stash a little bit, and hoping that that will go well. But anyways, I am going to leave it here for today. Thank you so much for watching once again. Let me know down below what you're knitting, what you have been working on, crocheting, knitting, whatever, while you're watching this. And I am going to look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye.